Max had been waiting years for this moment. He finally got the promotion. His salary jumped from $40,000 to $55,000 a year. For the first time, Max felt like he was winning with money. He thought, if I keep earning more, becoming wealthy should be easy. So Max upgraded his apartment. He bought a newer car. He started eating at better restaurants and spending more on things he once considered expensive. Then came another raise. His income eventually reached $70,000 a year. But something strange happened. Max was earning almost twice as much as before. Yet his savings account wasn't growing nearly as fast as he expected. His expenses had quietly grown with his income. And then, Max made an even bigger mistake. Driven by ambition and the dream of getting rich faster, he put $20,000 into a risky investment he barely understood. What happened next changed the way Max thought about money forever. In this video, you'll see exactly where Max went wrong, how much his decisions cost him, and the simple system he used to rebuild his financial future. If you want to learn how to save, invest, and make smarter decisions with your money, subscribe to Max's Finance Academy and join us as we make personal finance simple. Because earning more money is powerful. But if you don't know how to manage it, your next raise could disappear faster than you think. This is Max's story, and it begins with one simple question. If you're earning more every year, why aren't you getting richer? When Max was earning $40,000 a year, he had learned to live within a fairly simple budget. His apartment was modest. His car was older but reliable. Most of his meals were cooked at home. Then came the good news. Max received a promotion, and his salary jumped from $40,000 to $55,000 a year. That extra $15,000 felt enormous. Max immediately began thinking about everything he could finally afford. He moved into a better apartment. His monthly rent increased by $400. Then he replaced his old car with a newer model, adding a $350 monthly payment. He started ordering food more often and added several new subscriptions. Individually, none of these decisions seemed dangerous. But together, they quietly consumed most of his higher income. Before the raise, Max believed an extra $15,000 would transform his financial life. Instead, his lifestyle simply became more expensive. His salary had increased, but the amount he was building for his future had barely changed. Max had just discovered one of the most common financial traps. When your income rises, your spending can rise just as quickly. The problem wasn't that Max enjoyed his raise. The problem was that he upgraded his lifestyle before creating a plan for the extra money. A few years later, Max received another promotion. Now he was earning $70,000 a year. Compared with his original $40,000 salary, Max was making $30,000 more every year. From the outside, he looked successful, but his financial reality told a different story. With every raise, Max had added another expense. A better apartment became normal. The newer car became necessary. More expensive restaurants, weekend trips, upgraded electronics, and monthly subscriptions slowly became part of everyday life. Imagine that Max originally saved $300 each month while earning $40,000. After reaching $70,000, he expected to save thousands more. Instead, he was saving only around $500 a month. His income had increased dramatically, but his savings had barely moved. This is lifestyle inflation. It happens when spending grows alongside income, leaving little additional money for building wealth. Max finally realized that salary alone wasn't the number he needed to watch. His savings rate mattered too. If you earn $5,000 a month and save $500, your savings rate is 10%. Earning more helps. But unless some of that extra income stays with you, a bigger paycheck can simply create a more expensive lifestyle. One evening, Max opened his banking and investment accounts. He stared at the numbers. After years of promotions and higher salaries, he expected to see something impressive. Instead, he felt disappointed. His lifestyle was comfortable, but his net worth was nowhere near where he imagined it would be. Max began comparing himself with people online. He saw stories about investors supposedly doubling their money. Others claimed they had found the next big opportunity. Suddenly, Max's steady progress felt painfully slow. He started thinking differently. Maybe saving wasn't enough. Maybe traditional long-term investing would take too long. Maybe he needed one big investment to catch up. That was when ambition turned into impatience. Instead of asking, "How can I improve my financial habits?" Max started asking, "How can I get rich faster?" This difference was more important than he realized. Building wealth usually requires patience, consistency, and risk management. But Max was becoming focused on speed. And when someone wants fast results, high-risk opportunities can become extremely attractive. Max wasn't wrong for being ambitious. His mistake was believing ambition could replace discipline. Soon, an investment opportunity appeared that seemed to offer exactly what he wanted. Shortcut.
Max started researching ways to grow his money faster. Before long, he discovered a speculative investment that seemed to be exploding in popularity. Everywhere he looked, people were talking about its potential. Some investors posted screenshots showing enormous gains. Others claimed this opportunity could change their lives. Max began imagining what could happen. If he invested $20,000 and doubled it, he would have $40,000. If it tripled, he would have $60,000. Suddenly, years of slow investing seemed unnecessary. But Max focused almost entirely on what he could gain. He barely considered what he could lose. Instead of researching the investment deeply, understanding the risks, or considering diversification, Max allowed fear of missing out to influence his decision. He invested the entire $20,000 into one concentrated position. This was money that had taken him years to accumulate. At first, everything went perfectly. The investment started climbing. $20,000 became $22,000, then $25,000. Max felt brilliant. His ambitious decision seemed to be paying off. But there was one important question Max had never seriously considered. What would he do if the investment suddenly moved in the opposite direction? He was about to find out.
At first, Max's investment dropped only slightly. His $25,000 position fell to $22,000. Max wasn't worried. He told himself it would recover. Then it dropped again. $22,000 became $18,000. Max started checking the price constantly, every morning, during lunch, before going to bed. Soon, his original $20,000 investment was worth only $12,000. Then it fell to $8,000. Max was devastated. At its peak, he had seen $25,000 on his screen. Now, nearly two-thirds of that value was gone. He didn't know what to do. Should he sell? Should he wait? Or should he invest even more money to try to recover faster? The biggest problem was that Max had never created a plan for this situation. He had entered the investment thinking only about profit. He hadn't decided how much he could afford to lose or how this investment fit into his broader financial goals. The experience taught Max a painful lesson. Risk isn't something you should think about only after an investment falls. You need to understand it before your money goes in. But the failed investment wasn't Max's only financial problem. It was simply the one that finally forced him to look at everything else. After watching his investment collapse, Max decided to examine his entire financial life. For the first time, he put everything on one page: his income, his monthly expenses, his savings, his investments, his debts, and his total net worth. The pictures surprised him. Yes, losing money on the risky investment had hurt, but Max discovered something even more important. His financial problems had started long before that investment. Every time his salary increased, his lifestyle had expanded. His rent was higher. His transportation costs had increased. His everyday spending had slowly become more expensive. The investment failure was dramatic and easy to notice. Lifestyle inflation had been quiet, but over several years, both had prevented Max from building the wealth he expected. That's when Max stopped measuring success by salary alone. He began tracking his net worth, the value of what he owned minus what he owed. He also tracked how much of his income he saved and invested each month. These numbers gave Max a much clearer picture. A high income can help you build wealth, but income is only the money coming through the door. What you keep, protect, and invest determines how much progress you actually make.
Max knew he couldn't undo his previous decisions, but he could change what happened next. So he started rebuilding from the foundation. First, Max reviewed his monthly expenses. He didn't eliminate everything enjoyable. Instead, he looked for costs that no longer provided enough value. He canceled unused subscriptions and reduced unnecessary spending. Next, he focused on creating an emergency fund. The goal was simple: have cash available for unexpected expenses so he wouldn't need to sell investments or rely immediately on expensive debt during an emergency. Then, Max automated his finances. Every payday, money moved automatically toward his priorities before he had a chance to spend it. Some went toward regular expenses, some went into emergency savings, and some went toward long-term investing. Only after those priorities were covered did Max decide how much remained for flexible spending. This changed everything. Previously, Max had followed a simple pattern: earn first, spend second, save whatever remained. Now he reversed it: earn first, save and invest automatically, then spend according to his plan. Max was still ambitious, but this time his ambition had structure. And when his next raise arrived, Max was ready to handle it differently. When Max received his next salary increase, he remembered what happened with his previous raises. This time, he created a simple rule. He called it the 50% raise rule. Whenever his take-home pay increased, Max would automatically direct at least half of the increase toward his long-term financial goals. Imagine his monthly take-home pay increases by $500. Under Max's rule, at least $250 would automatically go toward investing or another important financial goal. The remaining $250 could improve his lifestyle. This meant Max could still enjoy the rewards of working hard. He could travel more, upgrade something important, or simply have more flexibility each month. But his future would improve at the same time. The strategy also helped prevent lifestyle inflation. Previously, a $500 increase in monthly income could quickly become $500 of new monthly expenses. Now, only part of that money became available for additional spending. As Max's career progressed, the amount he invested could gradually increase without requiring him to dramatically reduce his existing lifestyle. The exact percentage doesn't have to be 50%. The important lesson is to decide what happens to your raise before your spending automatically expands to absorb it. Max was ready to invest again, but his approach had completely changed. He no longer wanted to depend on finding one investment that could make him rich quickly. Instead, Max focused on diversification. Rather than putting a large portion of his money into one speculative opportunity, he considered a broader mix of investments appropriate for his goals, time horizon, and ability to handle risk. He also paid attention to costs. Investment fees can appear small, but over many years, higher fees can reduce long-term returns. Most importantly, Max stopped trying to predict every market movement. He created a regular investing schedule and contributed consistently. Some months, markets were rising. Other months, they were falling. Max continued following his plan. He understood that diversification couldn't eliminate investment risk or guarantee profits. Markets could still decline, but his financial future was no longer dependent on one risky bet. This was the biggest difference between the old Max and the new Max. The old Max asked, "Which investment can make me rich fastest?" The new Max asked, "What strategy can I realistically follow for decades?" For the first time, investing became part of Max's financial system instead of a shortcut to escape it. Now imagine two different versions of Max. Both receive the same raises throughout their careers. The first Max continues his old habits. Every time his income increases, his spending increases too. A better car, a larger home, more expensive habits. His lifestyle improves, but his monthly investment stays around $500. The second Max follows his new system. He starts with the same $500 monthly investment, but gradually increases as his salary rises. Eventually, he invests $750, then $1,000, and later $1,500 each month. Consider a simplified example using a hypothetical 7% average annual return. Investing $500 a month for 30 years could grow to roughly $610,000. Investing $1,000 a month could grow to roughly $1.2 million. At $1,500 a month, the result could approach $1.8 million. These are illustrations, not guaranteed outcomes. Actual investment returns will vary, but the principle is powerful. The biggest difference isn't one lucky investment. It's consistently directing more of your growing income toward assets, instead of allowing every raise to disappear into spending. Max finally understood that raises could become wealth-building tools, but only if he gave the extra money somewhere productive to go. After years of mistakes and learning, Max finally developed a healthier definition of financial ambition. His new formula was simple: earn more, keep more, invest consistently, diversify, give it time. Earning more remained important. Increasing your income can create opportunities to save, invest, pay down expensive debt, and reach financial goals faster. But Max learned that income was only the first step. If every additional dollar immediately becomes additional spending, earning more may not significantly improve your net worth. And if you repeatedly risk your savings chasing fast returns, years of financial progress can be placed in unnecessary danger. Max didn't stop taking risks completely. Instead, he learned to understand the risks he was taking and avoid making his entire future dependent on one outcome. Most importantly, Max stopped viewing patience as weakness. He realized that long-term investing could feel slow precisely because meaningful wealth often takes time to build. Ambition wasn't Max's enemy. Uncontrolled ambition was. Once Max combined ambition with discipline, his financial life began moving in a completely different direction. He was no longer searching for one investment that could change everything overnight. He was building a system that could work year after year. Years later, Max's financial life looked very different. His income had continued to grow, but this time his expenses didn't automatically grow at the same speed. Every raise had a purpose. Some of the extra money improved Max's life today. Another portion strengthened his financial future. His investments grew gradually. His emergency savings gave him stability, and his diversified approach meant he no longer depended on one ambitious investment to determine his future. Max had finally learned the lesson that his first big raise failed to teach him. Earning more money doesn't automatically make you richer. What matters is what happens after the money reaches your account. So, before your next raise disappears, consider 3 simple actions. First, look at your last salary increase and ask where the extra money actually went. Second, choose a percentage of your next raise to automatically save or invest before you upgrade your lifestyle. Third, before making any investment, understand the potential risks, not just the potential rewards. You don't need to avoid ambition. You need to give your ambition a plan, because the goal isn't simply to earn more. The goal is to turn the money you earn into lasting financial progress. And sometimes, building wealth isn't about finding the next big opportunity. It's about making sure your next raise doesn't disappear.